What's going on, traders? Happy Monday. Welcome back to another live stream. My name is Zach. This is Real Deal Futures. Before we jump onto the charts, make sure you read what's on the screen. Trading's risky. Most traders do lose money. I'm not a financial advisor. I don't provide financial advice or suggestions or recommendations of any kind. I'm just an idiot here on YouTube yapping about trading. Do your own research, make your own trading decisions, read CFTC Rule 4.41 on simulated trading, which is what this is, even in funded prop firm accounts, and the affiliate and partnership disclaimer that says I stand to make money from links in my content. Let's go ahead and jump onto the screens. I have two different things loaded up here this morning. I have a 3-pack of Topstep XFAs loaded up on this screen here. And then I have a 5-pack of Tradeify straight to funded 50Ks loaded up on this screen here. I was getting some scalping in, like I was talking about, on Tradeivate with Tradeify, and I just wasn't having too much fun with that. So I'm going to take some more, like slightly higher time, not higher time frame because it's 1 minute chart, but slightly less aggressive trades on the Tradeify account, and probably get some more of the scalping done on Project X, which I prefer over Tradeivate itself. But this is TradingView linked to Tradeivate, linked to Tradeify. And to make it even more complicated with another T name, I'm using TradeSyncer, which is a third-party trade copier to copy trade across 5 funded accounts. So that's a tongue twister there, but that's what's going on here. We've got Topstep and Topstep X. We've got TradingView, Tradeivate, Tradeify, and TradeSyncer right here. All T names. So that's what we got rolling. Same chart, right? Both TradingView charts. I'm using the same tools, same settings across, same levels. Everything's marked up the same. Like I said, I'm probably going to execute on the TradingView chart here today. That's going to be my game plan. Yeah, we could watch on TradingView as well, but I get so comfortable on one platform, like even though it's like almost exactly the same, I just train my eyes on one thing at a time, and I really like to pay attention to the exact same platform, same colorway. I mean, I'm not that nuanced about little stuff, but I just like to be trained on one thing. And so I'm staring at a Topstep X chart all day. I find I do significantly better on my chart setup rather than a completely just different Tradeivate chart, for example, which is completely different, different tools, different colors, different functions, like everything different. So that's my 2 cents there. Anyway, let's go ahead and get some analysis in. It's a little bit of what we're looking at here today. Good morning. What's up, Wolf? What's up, Doug? We are looking at ES here. Actually, MES, micro ES. Going to be looking at the 1 minute chart, looking for some low time frame trades. But first off, going to start at the daily, get a little bit of higher time frame analysis in here. Just taking a look at what's been going on off these lows, man. We got an interesting setup this morning. Really interesting setup, right? We had a lot of news last week. And we know, obviously, after selling off really aggressively day over day coming into this month, towards the end of this month, we have consolidated. We put a low in down here, consolidated a bit. Now we're starting to crack the upside. We are starting to form some uptrend structure, right? We are failing to get down below lows here, down below lows here. We're pushing the upside. If we zoom in, we can see exactly what we're looking at on the daily chart. We are opening up, gap up, and not just gap up, a physical gap on the chart. Looking at this futures contract, which is the M June contract. Current contract. So we are pushing the upside, bullish candle, gap up at the open, and really just continuing to drift all the way higher, forming a really, really strong bullish candle. I got a feeling we pull back at some point today. I don't know that we close this gap. I don't know. It's large, and we are far away from it. So this isn't something. Gaps like to get filled. There's just a dumb guy strategy which says short or long towards the gap fill. Until it hits. And I don't know that we get that today. I think this is one that we may leave, like this one over here, where we just have a lot of buying pressure ahead of it. I could see a crack to the upside and then a pullback. I could see a pullback before a crack to the upside. Sure, we can come all the way down and just completely disrespect this. And this is, in fact, going to be a much higher time frame push to the downside, pull back, and then continuation lower. But it looks like we may want to make a run back up towards this next area of high volume, which also lines up with these lows right here. So daily chart, way higher time frame view, pushing all the way back up to the 5900s, is kind of next big push to the upside. But for right here, right now, I try to stay somewhat unbiased, somewhat flexible. Let's drop down to the 5-minute real quick. We can just see that gap up here on the 5-minute chart. Bullish structure for the last trading session. We know what happened overnight. We opened up, gap up to the upside, and we really just drifted higher. This was just buying pressure all the way through Asia and London, through pre-market into the open here at 9:30 a.m. Eastern. We are opening up above VWAP. You can see where we are relative to yesterday's range, which is down here. We have prior day high, prior day low, value area high, volume point of control, value area low. It's all prior day stuff. We are really pushing that completely to the upside. We're well above yesterday's high. Here is our overnight high and overnight low, marked off from this low right here all the way to the high that we put in before 9:30 a.m. Those are all my levels above VWAP, and buyer's not backing off just yet. We have liquidity up above on Bookmap as well. I'll show you guys that in just a second. Just wanted to see that, make sure I have my overnight high marked off in the correct area on this chart. Again, if you hopped on late, I've got my Tradeify chart accounts hooked up. I'll kind of run through it if I'm putting a trade on, just exactly what's going on. But execution's on the screen as always. Live trading in funded accounts, money on the line, and everything in I'd say real time, but there's a lag with YouTube, so as close to real time as we can get it. P&L running. You guys will see the wins, losses, everything's in between. So let's take a look at Bookmap. This is my favorite order flow tool. Just making sure the stream still looks good. We look good. What's up, guys? We got a bunch of people hopping on. What's happening? What's happening? Happy Monday, March 24th. Let's get after it, man. News-wise, which I didn't say, I'll just mention right now, if you're looking for your trade for yourself, we do have red folder news at 9:45 a.m., 10 minutes. I'm not really anxious to jump into a trade ahead of that. But if we were looking at the ES order flow here through Bookmap, looking at the current order book, we've got liquidity up above. We've been drifting towards this. Anything like this that is with trend, I'm cautious of trading against. These are at really obvious round numbers. 5,800, 58.15, 57.95. We've got some. This is pretty prominent. This is a big stack of orders, right? We're not talking about 100 orders on the book. We have that not even showing up down here, but we are thick to the upside. We do have some down here to the downside. It's not even showing because these are so prominent that I'd have to adjust the heat map to really get it to start to show. But I'm not going to start messing with it. But we do have some orders down around 57.50, right? Fairly obvious spot. I don't pay attention too much to these peaks right here, above and below price, this algorithmic stuff. But right here, right now, I'm looking at this as dangerous to the upside. I think if we continue to make this run to the upside after that small pullback that we just saw, we are going to quickly come through the 5800s and potentially even higher. So I could be looking for a buy. What's going to keep me patient and kind of the frustrating move that we had on Friday is I got news, and I just don't like to trade through news. It's not my favorite thing to do. Wow, NASDAQ coming through a lot of liquidity right there. This is the NQ Bookmap chart. Much thinner book on NQ. So let's go ahead and leave ES over to the side. I'll show you what I'm talking about on news. Here is what we are looking at news-wise. This is forexfactory.com. This is my preferred site. I've just always looked at Forex Factory in the morning, so I'm stuck with it. You could use Financial Juice. You could use Market Watch, 47 other news sites. Here's all I care about. 9:45, 7 minutes to red folder news. This is Flash Manufacturing PMI, Flash Services PMI. Not traditionally a massive market mover, but this is a reason to exercise caution and to potentially not jump into a trade ahead of that. I really would prefer not to. Sometimes it plays nicely with you, like we saw on Friday, where I wasn't in and I got out of my trade right around break even. Had I not, we probably would have ran to the upside, you know, without getting stopped. But I don't love to jump in before red folder news. Just not my play. It can be a really frustrating quick stop out. So for those reasons, I'm probably going to sit patient. But we are cracking to the upside. Here we go. Running towards that 95 level. Really aggressively moving to the upside here on MES. Man, yeah, I'd like this. I'd really like this to the upside. Again, I got news, man. So I'm gonna hang out. Especially red folder. Like I'm not gonna put a trade on right into red folder news. It's just not my approach. You can scalp it, you know. You could just trade through every single one and say I'll be on the right side of enough ones and I'll be on the wrong side of enough ones, and that'll even out. I just don't love starting my week getting my stop just blasted through on red folder news, which is potential to happen. I'd rather just sit through it. If the market moves, the market moves. You know, I wait for the next setup, but I'm looking at this long for obvious reasons, right? So, you know, we kind of talked through everything here. Long for obvious reasons. This is zoomed out on the 5-minute chart. You can see where we put the lows in down here. You know, this is higher time frame view, 5-minute, but really zoomed out. We've just continued to be pushing to the upside out of this area of consolidation. I think even if we are going to push higher, I think a pullback down, really aggressive at some point this week, could potentially happen. But we are gap up, holding above VWAP, pushing to the upside. You know, this looks like we want to just continue this move, at least for right here, right now. You know, looking at the 1-minute chart to the upside. So, you know, my view is long on this. I think there's plenty of opportunity for a short if you wanted to hold for a larger move all the way back down, a big correction. Go and fill that gap. Go and just start tapping prior day high. You know, there's plenty of room for that. But right here, right now, pull back at 9:30 a.m. for the open and blast off. Buyers not taking their foot off the gas. Nothing tells me short here on the 1-minute chart. You know, even well zoomed out. So I'm going to hang tight. We're going to get the 15-minute opening range to set. In about 4 minutes, we have red folder news, high impact financial news, data that's coming out. I'm not going to trade right into that. I'm going to let it set. If we blast off, it could be a little bit difficult. I would love like a wick lower and then a continuation back up with enough time to get in. That would be like perfect scenario, ideal setup. But we'll see. I'm probably not going to get a trade right at 9:45 or 9:50. Again, because we are coming into red folder news. So I'm going to let that set up, see what happens. If I have to short, I'll take the break of 225 till 100 in the MNQ. Otherwise, I may not have a trade today. Break of 225. Gotcha. You'd look for a break of 225 all the way back down. Yeah, I could see that happening. Similar structure out of NQ. Very similar structure out of NQ, but I'm getting close to this news, so I'm going to leave my 1-minute chart up. Get this VWAP to reset. And again, guys, if you hopped on late, I do have, this is Topstep X on the Project X platform with 3 XFAs linked together. Copy traded. This is the TradingView platform where I'm logged into Tradeify, which is linked to Tradeify, where I have 5 50K straight to funded accounts being copy traded through TradeSyncer. So a tongue twister of like 400 T names. I'm most likely going to execute right here on, I can get rid of this line actually because TradingView has this now built in where it shows regular trading hours. But I'm likely going to take trades on my Tradeify accounts just to get some trading in on them. I'm managing quite a few funded accounts now, and I was scalping really aggressively on Tradeify with Tradeovate. I'm going to try to get it right. But I just don't like the Tradeovate platform to scalp on. I would much rather do it on Project X. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'm likely going to take trades They're a little bit more higher time frame, a little bit more time to develop, ability to deal with the TradingView lag that we get, and do that on TradingView with my Tradeify accounts. So same stuff, same trading, borderline the exact same charts. But I just like to talk through what's going on so you guys have clarity of what you're actually looking at, what's being traded. I think that's important. I would say that is important. So coming into Red Folder News in about 60 seconds here, we have Flash Services, Flash Manufacturing PMI, which is a data release. We should see some increase in volatility. I'm staying cautious for that, staying out until we get that number and kind of see where we go from here. But very bullish overall. I'd be looking long on this thing. I really would if we weren't coming into news. Maybe a retest of this temporary volume point of control, just kind of this area after we broke, pull back down, and continue. But I'm looking long on this. Got to see what happens here in the next 30 seconds for news. Could be nothing. Could be a whole lot of nothing. I'm actually going to get rid of this. I'd say it's a really nice zone coming off of higher time frames for an area of high volume, but we're at it, so I don't need to have that on my chart right now. Let's see what we get. News coming up here in a few seconds. Yeah, book is clearing out. Book is completely clearing out. Still a ton, though. A ton on the book at 58. I'd be shocked if we didn't crack towards this right here. A ton at 5,800. 560. Yeah, here we go. Big surprise. 560 at 800. And then like 862 right above that at 5801. Wow, we didn't fill it. Didn't fill it. Cracked towards it, but we didn't fill it. Show you guys what I'm looking at while I'm saying that. Bill asked, is the book clearing out? Yeah, here's the book clearing out. Here is your liquidity all over the place. You can see it getting dark and ominous, but this stayed on the book. That is wow, big stack of orders up here. Look at that. Heavy stack of orders. I almost never see that much for a single price level. 1,117 orders on the book on ES. Getting moved around a little bit, and then right underneath it, 600. Approaching $2,000 at like one price level. That's 2,000 orders. That's heavy. That's really heavy. Okay, we got some getting moved around, so you can see some coming off the book right there. This is going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what happens if we come into this. That's a serious level. And so again, when we get such a prominent level on the book, if it is with trend and with the direction that I'm looking to trade based on the main tools that I'm looking at, which is price action, market structure, volume. Wow, that's heavy. I like to trade towards it. If it's been eating up price, if it's been eating up orders on the book as we've been moving up for the day and I'm able to view that, maybe I anticipate just basic pattern recognition that that's going to continue. If we have a huge stack of orders and I really haven't seen what's been going on that day and how price has been reacting, I'm really cautious of trying to hold through one of those levels because that is a big stack of sell orders that could act as a lot of resistance. I'm going to watch this on the candlestick chart because I might want to get a trade on as this starts to happen. But that's what we're looking at on Bookmap coming into it. You know where it's at. It's right here. Wow, yep, coming through. We're going to see a lot of volume traded. Yeah, I think this thing's going to run to the 15s. This is interesting. So we just got through Red Folder News. Not a whole lot at 9:45. We saw the movement. We saw the volatility, just a quick pickup in price action, but not a big movement, right? Like we really didn't wick here and then sell back off. We watched price go crazy there for a second, but not a lot of movement. You can see the volume down here. Just kind of continuing what we were doing. So again, we do want to give it a couple minutes. Typically after news, you don't want to just say, okay, 1 minute has gone by. I'm jumping in. But that's an interesting one for sure. Let's see what we get out of this. Yeah, still a big stack of orders up on the book above this. And then 8:15. I think we're headed north, but gonna give this a minute to set up. Good morning, Ryan. Yes, if you just hopped on, we're talking about that and watching it. Yeah. What? So go ahead, give me your call out, Ryan. You're the newsman. What's the call? You have the data. Um, Negative, positive. Which way is price going based on your interpretation and utilizing news? We headed north or south right now? I'm watching for a breakthrough. Yeah, I think we're gonna break this level, man. This is a tough one. I would have liked this to set up with some room here, but we are. It looks like we're gonna hammer right into this. I'm cautious of what happens if we start to get through this. I don't know that we rip through to the upside and continue, or we find some sellers right here after filling these orders, and then maybe get our pullback. Structure is clean to the upside right here, right now. There's nothing wrong with a breakout trade. Traditionally, without what I'm seeing on Bookmap, right here to the upside, just looking at something like this. Pullback, continuation. We're continuing to push higher. We got volume. But there is a big stack of orders right here, and I'm just cautious. I'm not sure that we break through this and run to the upside, although we might. I'm anticipating potentially a larger pullback. Came through this area pretty quickly. 57.85s. There we go. Orders filling to the upside. Let's look at. Yeah, I'm going to wait. So that's orders getting filled. I'm going to wait to see if we get some selling pressure here. I'd like to see some kind of pullback. A pullback here and then continuation to the upside. I'm definitely long. This is not that great of structure to trade off of, but I'm eyeballing it. So let me get set up on this Tradeify, Trading View, Tradeify, Trade Syncer setup here. Yeah, I'm looking long on this. It may just break and run from here. And, that would be trade number one, just taking this directly to the upside. We've come through this level. We're holding here. Just not anticipating a pullback through this level right here and a continuation to the upside. That's trade idea number one. I'm going to have to just let this one go if it does run, because it's not a great setup for me. I don't want to have my stop loss right here. This is something that I would like to get in at a better price and try to hang on to till like the 815s, like way up here. And if that's the case, I'd like something from down here. I really would. That would be pretty sweet for this type of setup. Just a little bit wider today, because I really do think we can run. If I was going to take it from up here, I'd really want to anticipate it being a quick break and just go for something quick and not hold on, because I do anticipate a pullback at some point today. Another one of these bad boys. More liquidity building up above, huh? This is looking interesting for a buy. So again, I'm not in anything, guys. You'll see it on my screen, of course. Looking at this for a buy, a breakout to the upside, just a continuation without a sweep down below this low. But it's a it's a dicey move. We can certainly pull back really aggressively on this. We filled a lot of orders up here. We just don't have that much movement on the 1 minute chart. I could certainly see a pullback on this one. This isn't a bad setup. I'm just kind of watching the book and see how this sets. We're at 810. I'm going to take this long from up here. I'm going to take this long from up here and see how this one plays out. So I'm long from 58.01. Looking at price holding up here, we have a lot building on the book. I'd probably be looking at something like that to look to take profit if we continue to crack higher. Because I'm here on TradingView, I'm going to leave these brackets on so I don't set any more jacked up orders. We pull back on this. I think we're coming all the way back down to this level. I'm going to leave my stop somewhat wide here. Just measuring this out. Again, guys, this is not exactly where my stop loss and take profit's going to go yet. Just give me a moment on this. I'm tempted to go really wide on this, but it's not something that I'm going to do. I'm going to look for this to continue. If we have to pull back, we have to pull back. I'm going to look for a second trade. But for right now, I'm going to go stop loss all the way down here. I'm just going to get my take profit out of the way for right now and run it up here. I'd probably look to take profit before this point. As you know, I don't usually run a take profit. But with this TradingView, Tradeify, Trade Sinker setup, that's what we're on. Yeah, so long out of this. Again, not waiting for the pullback. We got a pullback here. I'm looking at this to continue to blast off to the upside. We have liquidity building up above. If we pull back really harshly, that's going to be my, my stop loss for the day. I don't know that I would take a second trade on this. Maybe if later into the afternoon, if we pull back really harshly, chopped around, and then continue the upside. But if this is going to go, I want to see it go pretty quickly here. If it's not going to go, we come down, stop me out. That'll be that. But buying into strength, bullish pressure all along the way. We got to pull back off the open. Again, this is a tough area to have a stop. I think if we do have to pull back, we might find some buyers right here. If not, just sweeps down below into this level. Maybe sweep down below into this level. I'm giving it room below this low here by a pretty significant portion. We could certainly see a crack here and then a continuation. So I could manage on the way down, but this is really I want to see this bad boy blast off, maybe tighten up on stops at a certain point as we head towards 805, 810, 815. But that's the trade for the morning. That's the trade. Putting it on the Tradeify accounts. So long from 801.50, 801 and a half, and stop right now at 787. Kind of watch that if we really can't find strength up here and push to the upside. And we start to sell off. Got an option to close early, but we'll make a decision when we get there. And if you guys are chatting it up, I'm just watching Bookmap on the side. Nice orders at 805 that we look like we want to come into. I'm going to try to hang on to this bad boy. The risk here, I'll show you what this looks like. Plenty of orders up above, right? The risk here is that we could seriously find resistance at any of these levels. Especially if more orders start to get fed onto the book, we see some iceberg stuff starting to pop up. But I'm looking at us potentially coming through these and continuing the way we came through the 800s with a lot of orders on the book, and continue to go gobble these orders up to the upside, right? More up here at 10 and 15. There's risk up here for sure of a pullback at one of these levels, of resistance being found, and then a pullback forming after one of these levels. But market structure, price action, everything pointing to the upside today. So I'm gonna get long and hang on to it. Simple as that. Simple as that. looks pretty good. All right, guys, I'll be right back. Be right back. Gonna grab a drink. Back in action with you guys. How did my trading chair do? Not great. Kind of just hanging out up here. Around entry. This is not taking off, at least right here, right now. We still have decent liquidity up above. This is a slow moving one. Again, simple trade, not waiting really for an aggressive retest, for a pullback down, for a retest of VWAP. I could certainly see shorts from up here, right? You got a clean way to structure risk. You would be really counter to this, this trend to the upside. Could certainly see that as well. Nothing wrong if that's your play, to be shorting in an uptrend, and you're going to try that trade multiple times. Nothing wrong with that. Good opportunity to the downside. But I'm just looking at this as strength. Ooh, here we go. We got some selling pressure. I'm looking at this as strength, really off the open, absorbing this news, price liking it, continuing to the 800s, hanging out up here, transacting quite a bit, and then continuing without a ton of selling pressure. We filled a bunch of orders up here. We did not find sellers as we came up into it. We didn't find sellers, after the first few minutes of hanging out up here. 10 a.m. coming in right here, right now. We certainly could now, but I'm not waiting for a huge pullback that we might get. I think if we do come back down here, I'd be really cautious of wanting to buy at that point anyway. So, my system is telling me to get long. We'll see how that pays today. Take our L's in stride, take our wins modestly, and keep it trucking. But I think a nice move up to the 15s coming through this liquidity could be pretty sweet. Do we pull back first and then really blast off? That's an option as well. Always like to make the case for both sides, but yeah, not a whole lot down below that would be scaring me much on Bookmap. Again, we got levels to go and retest if we want to go and retest. So we'll see what ES has for us. Let's see. Ryan says, yeah, buys today. Oh, there we go. Ryan, we're thinking the same then. In and Out Friends had buys at 940. Pullback. Nice. Very nice. Isn't everyone with their dog wanting a 5,800 break and retest? Sure. Which is concern, right? If everybody's looking at the same thing, you think all eyes on the retail side are looking at the same thing. Usually it doesn't do just that. But there's only so much, I try to take into consideration, right? You can think of a lot of guys say max pain, right? What's the most painful, obvious thing that the market's not going to do and piss everybody off by doing it? Well, maybe it's a crazy pullback in a wick lower, sweep the session lows before it continues up higher. For me, maybe it's just a blast off with no pullback. Like that would be painful if I was watching that. Yeah, finding some sellers here, really not taking off with momentum like I'd like to see. But for me, I think on this one, I'm likely going to hold on to this. Allow for sellers to step in, potentially bring this thing back down lower. Yes, about $217.50 from the 50 to the 58 ticks, $217.50. Well within my risk parameters to hang on to that. Copy traded across some accounts, but we'll see if we get a push to the upside, or if we're just going to start to chop up here. We start to sell off really aggressively. I think we can come through these lows quickly, back down to this area. Let's just take a peek at the higher time frame, zoomed out. If we load up. Yeah, like we could, again, we could come all the way back down and fill this gap, right? And I think there's a lot of eyes on that today. These like to get filled, so that would be, call in shorts. Pull back down and break to the upside, and then continuing through news. On the 1 minute chart, that's a quick long for me. But we could certainly see a pullback past overnight high. And again, this initial just crack to the upside, not continuing. But I was looking at so much strength for this one, that looking short on this to try to catch a pullback with so much strength continuing through the end of last week, it's a pretty dang counter trade to take. So those are my reasons for getting long, but we'll see. Again, just looking at the visible range volume profile, I could certainly see a pullback to to this area. All the way down to the 750s, looking at higher time frame, how this might move before continuation to the upside. But I'm looking at just liquidity all the way up to where my take profit is, that I think would get filled potentially before we pull back. Looking at a really zoomed out 15 minute. So for those reasons, we're long. But we'll see what ES has for us today. We will see what ES has for us today. Ryan says, one trade and done for the day. Take care, going back to sleep. No trade, no sleep last night. Yeah, I definitely don't want to be trading on no sleep. So institutional traders will wait till after news on Monday to react, right? So maybe they're eyeballing this 58 long after breaking news. Bill, I'm not sure, right? I'm not sure. I try not to create that much of a storyline for myself, right? You just get too, in my humble opinion, you can get too focused on what we think institutional traders, or what's going to happen relative to news, market participants, what they're going to do, how they're going to interpret everything. I try to keep my trading much more stupidly simple than that. What's going on from a technical standpoint, right? My thought really on news is that I pay attention to when it is, and I try to avoid being in the market if I possibly can. Watching us pull back on this here, so that's cool, man. Again, if I have to start my Monday with an L, no problem. Not a problem at all. But yeah, here was our news that came in, right? Am I going to look at forecast and actual and what this is supposed to mean and whether or not above or below is good? No, I don't. I don't utilize that level of fundamentals in my trading. It's just not part of my deal. Ryan does. It seems to work well for him. Plenty of other guys do. For me, I just like to say, all right, 9:45 a.m. news like we did today. I don't really want to be jumping in at 9:40 a.m. I think we got potential for this to cause an increase in volatility. And, that next following couple minutes, I want to hang out and kind of just let that develop. But if you find a way to use fundamentals in your trading, more power to you. I think that will work, well for you, could work well for you. For me, I was never able to use it with any advantage. I wasn't backtesting with it, and I was forward trading with it, and it only hurt me. Didn't help me. So again, let's see. Sellers stepping back in at least here for right now. Back below the 800s. I could see a retest of this level right here, just this area of consolidation. Would love to see structure not start to break to the downside and start to come below this low. I have my stop loss down below this low by 3.5 points, down below overnight high. Wanting to allow at most a retest of this level before a continuation of the upside. That would be pretty dangerous. I think if we came all the way down, we do have a really, a really good chance of coming even lower, down into like the low 80s, and then if not below session low, and in this VWAP level that we have here. So we'll see. We'll see. Would like to be in this trade for initial balance to set. That would be pretty sweet. We would be trading along with the direction of initial balance, which is the first 1 hour opening range. Just looking at that as I'll be holding this one, past the first hour of the open. But we got sellers stepping in here. We are getting a pullback. It's this really slow, drifty movement. So I don't really like the way this is looking with just slow chopping 1 minute bars. But again, gonna trust my stop. Gonna leave it where it is, right? If it has to get hit, it has to get hit. That's my level of invalidation. And yeah, take our trades. Let the odds play out in our favor. That's all we can do. See what ES has in store for me today. Yeah, liquidity staying on the book a ton above. I just don't know that I'm going to survive this pullback that's forming. I think this has a really, really good case to move to the upside today. Another trade idea is that you say, hey, this thing's going to run to go check out like the 850s. And you go, I'm going to play this with a much higher time frame perspective off something like the 15-minute chart. And, you're taking it long from where it is right now, stop loss well below this level and a much wider take profit, right? Like I said, running up towards like the 850s, a big push to the upside today. Allow for a pullback, allow for a retest of this, this high broken in the uptrend. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that either. I wonder if this VWAP has to reset, or if it automatically. No, trading view is locked in. That VWAP is not ending up in a bad spot. Yeah, we start to continue down through these lows even further. It's not looking great for this trade. You can absolutely actively manage, right? You could say, hey, man, I wanted this to blast off here. I was going to allow for some pullback and then buyers to step back in. We're now pulling back down lower, coming up to this area of high volume and starting to trend lower. You could certainly take it off for, 40, 50 bucks instead of potentially realize a full L. For me, again, what I've seen, my data, what my journal shows is to not mess with these trades as much. To put them on, get my stop loss in a spot that makes sense initially based on the data that's in front of me when I'm putting the trade on. My take profit, far away. I typically don't run a take profit. Look to take profit quickly, at an area, not really worrying so much about R multiples. But as far as stop losses go, don't constantly tighten up. Don't constantly take the trades off at break even. Don't constantly close for a small loss. I end up managing risk well that way to a degree, but I keep myself from ever taking the nice wins that I will need to, to maintain nice green P&L. I will have to realize the full stop outs maybe on a day like today for 217 bucks if I'm ever going to realize the wins, for, whatever the win is going to be, right? Otherwise, I'm taking these, maybe small L, small break evens, small whatever it is, and I never catch the win because I never give the trade room to breathe, room to develop, and turn into a full loss or a full winner, that type of deal. So for those reasons, No trade management. I try to articulate what I'm doing, talk about what I'm doing as I'm doing it with you guys. But while we're on here trading these accounts, check out the code above, code RDF, for 35% off Tradeify straight to funded. That's what I'm in right here for $330. You could be trading a funded account, no evaluation. I'm copy trading 5 of these bad boys using TradeSyncer. You're able to hook it right up like you see me trading off of this TradingView chart. I will drop the link in the chat again. It's up at the top as well. But that is what I'm trading right here, right now. Tradeify straight to funded, pretty sweet. If you have a confidence in your edge, you have a way to structure risk. You don't want to mess with an eval. Pretty damn sweet. You do have to consider, and I'm doing some more prop firm comparison videos, but you do have to consider the consistency rule, minimum days to payout. But in my world, it's a pretty sweet opportunity, man. Wish they were on Project X, but I'm excited about some potential for some more stuff coming up on Project X soon. Should be cool. Let's see if buyers can step in, man. Would really like a break and continuation out of this. Again, we come back down through the lows, like down through the low 790s. That's going to look really dicey for this. I like buyers stepping back in, but we're kind of just getting this slow, drifty day. And oftentimes what I find is I get like, anxious, I get impatient, and I'm like, oh man, come on already. Like, what are we doing here, And that's just the price action for the day. It's kind of this slow moving, maybe a little bit less volatile day. And you can end up taking yourself out of good trades because we're not going to blast off. We're just going to put these couple point candles in, 2, 3, 4 points, moving in one direction, moving in the other direction. And, we're trading ES, and you kind of just got to let the trade develop, just slow yourself down a little bit. So that's what I'm going to try to do on this one. You guys know if I end lives with trades running, I either leave a stop and take profit exactly where it is, or I tell you what exactly that I'm going to do in real time in Discord. But I'm not going anywhere yet. I'm going to trade on, watch this thing develop with you guys. Sweeping highs again, testing the 8.0, getting close to testing the 8.05s where we have liquidity. Would really like to see buyers step in and some good momentum to the upside. Like I said, I'm not gonna manage this trade based on that today, just because it's so damn slow moving. If sellers do step in, oftentimes it is the stairs up, escalator down, and we could see a really, really violent pullback and a sweep through my stop. That happens. That's cool, right? I'm not trading with 100% win rate, right? Not even close to it. Slightly positive, right? And a modest risk to reward. That's my edge in the market. It varies based on, market conditions and how I'm trading. Really, really wide average for myself. So I don't even like to talk about specifics because I think it would just be inaccurate. But for the most part, we don't win all of our trades over here, right? That's part of the game. So yeah, we'll let this thing develop a little bit. Again, I don't want to cap a good trade. I like liquidity up above. I just don't know if we're gonna have to sweep all the way back down here first, really aggressively. A gnarly wick lower before continuation to come tag some of these to the upside. So that's my caution. If I have to make a case against my trade, it's that we could see a gnarly what some guys in my Discord call a stop run, right? Shout out to Brian if you're on here. See a stop run to the downside, kind of like where mine is right now. Take everybody out, immediate buyers step back in. But I don't just not trade because of a potential risk like that. So we'll see what we get, man. Let's see what we get here. But again, appreciate you guys being on here. Hit like, hit subscribe. I'm here trading live almost every damn day. 100% free. I got a 100% free Discord community. No gatekeeping. You get to see my trading develop in real time. So here's my smash the like button, comment in the chat. See if we can't take a winner out of this bad boy. Or take our loss, right? Take our L. That's the way I like to talk about my trades. Not that I'm the smartest guy in the room or I know what price is going to do next. I think that's a bunch of BS. I think it's not how trading looks, at least for me, right? I'll speak for myself. Not how trading looks for most guys. But I think they like to talk like that and overestimate their ability to predict price action and market structure, which I think is a silly thing to try to do. See what we got going on in Discord. Brian Short. Brian is short on ES. Looking at resistance up here. He's got SPX loaded up. I feel that. Links to the Discord. Everything is in that link up at the top, my man. But just for you asking, here it is right here, my friend. Here's my link to the 100% free Discord. Also, all the links in the description of this video, guys. But 100% free Discord. You can ask me questions, be talking with me today. Ton of guys in there. We got a ton of people joining. I think I don't know where everybody's coming from, but I can't track it. That's why I was asking so much in the Discord. If you're from the Discord community, I didn't mean to bother everybody today. I was trying to figure out where everybody's coming from, but I got a ton of people joining. I'm at like 20 an hour have been joining. We got some people kind of coming and going, but it's a lot of high volume of people joining the Discord. So welcome. If you're from the Discord and you're new, what's up? Happy to have you in. Got a couple YouTube videos doing okay. A couple Instagram videos doing okay. Whoop, I got something going on with them, but somebody said straight from Google, so I got something ranking on Google search. But what's up? If you're from the Discord, welcome. If you're somewhere else, welcome. Saw me on Topstep TV. Yeah, I was on Topstep TV again last week. I trade on Topstep TV pretty regularly. Was Friday, right, Bill? I was on there on Friday. Yeah, so I get a mix. Wolf, I know exactly where price is going to go next, but if I trade on, the bug in my computer will alert the people and they'll go for my stop. Yeah. Yeah. You sound like somebody in the trading community, Wolf. They're coming for you. Oh man, I read the funniest thing. I'm going to try to find this real quick while we're hanging out watching this. Again, I'm going to leave this trade on. I'm looking for 815s. Hang out before I just get sidetracked. There we go. We're getting some push to the upside. I'm looking for liquidity to continue to fill to the upside. 815 is the level I have my eye on. Could grab quick profit here and just call it, but I'm gonna wait to see how this starts to develop. 810 is a level of interest. I'd be a little bit cautious up here. You got an opportunity to scale and take stuff off for small profit. But I'm going to try to hang on to this one and let this thing keep moving. It's showing strength. It's moving in my direction. It's just so damn slow that it's difficult to do sometimes. But I'm going to leave this on. Again, liquidity to the upside on Bookmap. Sellers could step in here at any moment and we could see a harsh rejection. But we got levels above, man. So I'm hard-pressed to cap this thing early. I'm not going to hold on to it all day. I'm not going to hold on to it for a massive run. But just a little bit more profit out of this. Otherwise it's just not really worth it. 814 really. 810 we got some, but I'd like to see a crack through this pretty quickly. If we can continue. Otherwise, I think we find resistance up here and we really turn down. Again, I don't know that I'm going to hold it past that like 814-ish level through the 820s, although it could definitely just start to break and run. I'm anticipating a pullback at some point. I'm going to try to hang on to it until we get that. But it could happen right here, right now, right? We can see seller step in and come and run my stop. So we'll see. But I'd like a pushback. I put like a push up to this level. Just a continuation, market structure, price action. I think that would be reasonable for an extension. Somewhat of a continuation of measured move, right? So we came 14-ish points from the lows to the highs. We're approaching 13. I wouldn't mind like a nice extension on this one. Yeah, Yeah, this is interesting structure. Yeah, I'm gonna let it develop. It's Monday. It's cool. I don't see myself getting a second trade on these accounts after this. So, you know, I'd rather not just take a $60 profit on it with you guys and copy traded, but and just, you know, either realize a little bit larger of a profit or the full stop, just based on this kind of slow grind. So we'll see. We'll see what we get. But yeah, I was talking about knowing exactly where. Can barely hear me, man. Anybody else have a volume issue? What's up, for the love of the trade? I like that username. Is the music too loud or is my mic too low? Somebody let me know. I can't always tell. I can tell from OBS and, you know, my streaming software kind of what's going on, but I can't always tell. Oh, that was me, bro. The volume was down. Okay. Yeah, no, it's all good. I don't mind. Like, right? You guys are my feedback, so someone's got to let me know if you can't hear me. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you. What's up? What's up, Enzo Trader? Yeah, we're good. But yeah, I don't get so much feedback, so I don't really know what the hell's going on. But we're talking about people talking about predicting price, and I don't want to classify the whole group, right? Because I think there's plenty of ways to trade and people make money and all this different type of stuff. But it seems like the smart money group, sellers stepping in here. Yeah, we'll see. Again, retested this level. My entry, I think, could absolutely be in store. Even a sweep all the way down below these lows could be in store before continuation of the upside. So I'm gonna give this thing room to breathe. But while we're letting this thing to develop into a win or a loss, there's like, you know, we know the storylines out of the main guy, but there seems to be like some guys that just adapt like what's working, right? And kind of the same type of like talking about stuff. There's one channel on X that is freaking hysterical. I gotta try to read it. It's laughable. I thought it was a joke when then I clicked on the dude's profile and I was like, oh, he's dead serious. Let me see if I can find it. Damn. Maybe it was deleted. Hang on. But it reminded me of you, Wolf, with the bugs and it must have been deleted. But it's essentially like the market makers hacked my phone, and this is a big account. It's 100,000 followers. The market makers hacked my phone because they want to keep me from giving you all of this information that's so dangerous and powerful in the market. And I was like, oh, that's funny. He's making fun of the main dude. But he's not. He's dead serious. And the other tweets and stuff out of that is just hysterical, man. Yeah, so it made me think, I thought it might have been you, Wolf. The market makers bugged my phone. They hacked my phone. They took me off of Twitter to stop me from posting what I was posting. I was like, that's funny, dude. That's funny. Yeah, Wolf's laughing. You got me thinking about trying out Bookmap. I trade YM. Yeah, man. Trump speaks at 11. FY. Hate slow grinds. Hate fast moves. Yeah. Glad to be here. Yeah. So Trump speaking at 11 is sketchy. That's a great call out. Appreciate you. What is he speaking about? Do we know? Because I really would prefer not to be in the market for that. Trump and Musk cabinet meeting at 11 a.m. I didn't have that on my calendar. Great call out, brother. Great call out. Yeah, that's sketchy. That's sketchy. And while that's not like a data release, right? The way that, flash manufacturing PMI is a data release, or, an FOMC rate, Trump is very, been a market mover this year. So that's sketchy to be holding through. So yeah, I'm going to say I'm probably going to have somewhat of a time stop on this one. I don't know that I want to hold this past like the 30-minute mark. But great call out. Probably just going to let it develop and kind of see what happens here. Again, we're just slowly grinding. The more resistance we find up here and just slow movement, the more I do start to lose faith. But as I said, I'm going to try to counter that and just let the thing develop, let the slow grind kind of happen. I think sellers, if they do step in, we could see a really harsh rejection to the downside back through overnight highs and head back down towards that gap. But right here, right now, this is still just drifting to the upside. Liquidity up above. I could see a crack to the upside and then a rejection. But I'm just going to watch this and, manage it as I see fit here with you guys. But great call out. Great call out. Yeah, you got me thinking about Bookmap. I trade YM. Yeah, man. Bookmap is helpful. Do I still have rhythmic data on this? Hang on one second. I'll see if I could pull up YM Bookmap. Yeah, I should be able to. YM. It's not connected. So I had rhythmic for CBOT data. But let me get rid of that for now. But yeah, man, if you're interested in Bookmap, here's seller stepping in. If you're interested in Bookmap, go to that top link. Link is there for a discount. You can check out the pricing. Again, fair warning, I'm an affiliate partner for Bookmap, so I can't be unbiased on almost any of this stuff. I think it's important to be transparent about that. But I like Bookmap. I'd be using it if I wasn't a Bookmap partner and affiliate. I was using it before then. And I find it helpful. I find it really helpful. I came to the futures market. Having that additional information is helpful for me. So I would check it out. Again, do I think it's, and here's my honest opinion for whatever you want to think is honest or not. I think it's like any other tool, right? I don't think it's any magic answer. I don't think, we'll see how it helps me or hurts me today. It's like anything else, right? Not going to work 100% of the time, not even close to it. However you interpret it is only going to provide so much of an edge as it gives you confidence, right? But there's no magic, right, to Bookmap or order flow, in my humble opinion. It's just what you prefer, right? Tools are going to help you make educated trading decisions, good ways to structure risk, something that you can provide some consistency in the markets with. But there's no magic to Bookmap, man. It's not like get Bookmap to be profitable. There's plenty of traders that that trade without Bookmap. There's plenty of traders that do trade with Bookmap. Oh, I'm sorry, I had an ad running in the background. And then Scotland the Brave playing. But yeah, for me, Bookmap's pretty sweet. Some background music. No. The market makers just bugged my computer, not my phone. Think unusual whale started putting Trump talks on their calendar. That's cool. That is cool. Don't know about that either. Something about tariffs. Yeah, I'm risk off. Fought a good trade off of the opening range breakout. Done for now. Supposed to be talking about the deportations and the judge who blocked it, in addition to Musk addressing government agencies. Interesting. Yeah, 11 a.m. Eastern. That is the time frame for that Trump hopping on and talking. I think the heat map is a real window to liquidity and supply and demand zones. I also like the delta widget that tells you if more buyers or sellers at a specific level. Yeah. Yep. Cumulative volume delta is helpful in there. But again, man, it's just all about what you find helpful, right? All about what you find useful and helpful. I really do like it. Again, if you look at my chart, it's pretty damn simple, right? Anything on here that I have is a volume tool or a level. And I do have a lot of volume levels that are related to volume. They're actually all down here today. But VWAP, visible range volume profile, but mainly I'm paying attention to price action market structure and horizontal levels. For Bookmap, for order flow, that heat map gives me additional horizontal levels to pay attention to. Other areas that I might not be paying attention to. If I didn't know that we had, 200 or 1,000 orders on the book, like we saw earlier today, I want to be cautious of that. I want to be aware of those levels. So that's the thought process. Question though, do I have to buy the Global Plus or is it all inclusive with one subscription? Okay, so let's talk about Bookmap while we're hanging out up here. I'm going to throw my straight up Bookmap link in here. Yeah, I'm watching time and I'm watching this trade. It starts to put me in an interesting spot where, you know, unless we crack to the upside coming up here pretty soon, I don't know that I want to hang on to this through Trump and Musk yapping. So it's a good call out. Not something that I was really paying attention to. I'm usually not holding trades that long. Still got liquidity up above, but we got sellers stepping in here. I'm going to hang on to this one for now, guys. Yeah, I'm going to leave it. If it has to come all the way back down on me really aggressively, that's cool. I'm not of the belief that you can go broke letting winners turn into losers. Never let a winner turn into a loser. I don't subscribe to that. I subscribe to what makes sense for me trading. And I think some axioms like that can be helpful, but some of them are just overstated. So we still got the 810s, 815s. I mean, pulling back on this could be, you know, running out of steam to the upside, starting to form. That was a really clean measured move, actually. 14. Yeah, again, I'm not super excited about this, but we'll watch it play out. Let it play out. Again, what my data shows, just don't touch the trade so much. Just let it go. Let it stop you out. Let it run in profit and grab your profit and call it a day. But talking about Bookmap, sorry for getting distracted again. Kind of what you have to do, how to subscribe. It is interesting. So if you look at Bookmap, the subscription for Bookmap, you pick the subscription, which would be Global or Global Plus provides you the heat map that you see on this chart right here. This is the highest paid version. This is Global Plus, but Global gives you like most of this. You don't get some of these widgets up here. You don't get nearly as much in the add-on section of a ton of stuff that I just don't have on here right now because I run a pretty simple, straightforward setup. But it works pretty damn good. And so you could start with Global if you wanted to and just kind of check that out. There's some good deals on Global. But what you also have to remember is you need a data feed within Bookmap. So you have a subscription for Bookmap itself, which is a paid subscription. And then just like if you wanted level 2 data on any software, you wanted the depth of market on Topstep X or on Tradeify, and you wanted level 2 data, you need to pay for that subscription, and it's separate. You can utilize Bookmap data, you can utilize Rhythmic, DX feed, but you need some level 2 data for the instrument that you're trading. If you're trading on YM, it would be CBOT. CBOT is Chicago Board of Trade. That's where the data comes from. Here on ES and NQ, this is CME data. This is CME data. You can actually see it right there, and it's actually Bookmap data. You can see the actual what I'm utilizing right here, right now. I had Rhythmic, but it's actually still here, but for some reason it's just not connecting. I had Rhythmic for CBOT data for YM because I was trading YM much more actively. I'm not really touching it now. But yeah, so that's how that would work. The subscription to level 2 data in general is around like $30 to $40 a month. I think it's around $35 a month for most subscriptions, but you need that and you need a subscription to Bookmap. So it's either monthly, quarterly, you could buy lifetime access to Bookmap. But again, just like on Topstep X or trading Tradeify or Sierra Charts or Quant Tower or whatever, if you wanted level 2 data, which is what we're looking at here, full depth of market, you need to subscribe to that. It's not free. You get the basic stuff for free on most brokers, but that's Bookmap. That's what this is. So you got to decide if that's worth it for you. For me, there is an axiom that I do like, which is cheap shit ain't good and good shit ain't cheap. Bookmap, it's not cheap, but in my world, like, we hardly pay for anything for trading, right? As far as like the risk that you're putting on, you don't need this ton of money to enter the markets anymore. Most of the stuff that you trade with, the tools that we utilize, is free. There's some paid stuff that I find helpful, like Bookmap. Again, grain of salt it because I'm a partner. But, you know, is Bookmap expensive? To me, no. You know, it's ridiculously cheap for what you get, the information that you get. It's one of the only real things that you have to pay for. You know, maybe you pay for a journal, you know, and that's $300, $400 a year for TradeZella, an automated trading journal. I have a subscription to TradingView, right? So I have the highest paid version of TradingView. I pay $7 a month for data on TradingView as well. But the stuff relatively is cheap. But again, if you're dead broke, you're starting out from scratch, do you need to pay for software and different subscriptions? Probably not. You know, just go at it raw and go from there. But yeah, Bookmap in my world is helpful. Being aware of levels like this on the book, liquidity up and above and below price, I think can be helpful to be aware of. Watching what happens as we start to come into it, I think can be telling for what happens for the rest of the day, right? So trending to the upside, coming in, eating these orders up, finding some resistance right there, coming through, really not rejecting harshly, sellers not stepping in. And then again, there's so much more within Bookmap that you can utilize, like I was showing you. There's a ton of different add-ons. There's additional subscriptions for different add-ons. You can customize the way this looks like wildly. You can run different volume profiles, different delta tools. It's pretty sweet. It's pretty sweet. Yeah, man, I don't love how this trade is forming. We're just not finding buyers to the upside. So I'm going to give this a little bit more time. We start to come down and draw down. I'm probably just going to let it run, through Trump speaking. I got an option to take it off here as we just start to drift lower and check this 800 level out. But, this is an area to return to where we have a lot of volume and somewhat of a decision-making point, right? Looking at the visible range volume profile, we're likely either going to have buyers take it higher out of this level and continue the upside, within this type of, maybe 10-point range that we're kind of forming here, or sellers step in, start to break below, maybe retest, and then continue to the downside. So somewhat of a pivotal point. I jumped in way back here, looking for a continuation of the upside. I'm holding this a long period of time for the 1 minute chart in the way that I typically am in and out of trades. Looking for this to continue to grab some liquidity to the upside. But, there's definitely a school of thought that says, we got Trump and Elon Musk speaking in 20 minutes, 19 minutes, take the trade off, just be done with it, and then maybe come back in the afternoon. Nothing wrong with that. I'm going to give this just a hair more time to develop, but I'm starting to lose faith in it. And I don't know that I want to hold through that. Let me just kind of look at what this looks like. Yeah, no problem, brother. You said understood. Appreciate that, bro. Just looking at my calendar, see how much time I have to manage this. Yeah, I think I don't think I'm gonna be able to let this develop. Guys, I'm gonna go ahead and take this off right here for a whopping $20 across 5 accounts. I'm looking at my calendar. I don't have time to manage this through Trump and Elon Musk speaking. It's taken way too damn long. I still think we're likely to crack up here, but I'm getting ready to wrap this live session up here. Didn't get the trade to develop that I wanted to. Not going to leave it on through Trump and Musk speaking, although it doesn't look bad. And I can't manage it, so I don't want to leave a trade on running like that if I really can't even be on the charts. So for those reasons, I'm out for... can I get a total P&L? It looks like 1772 times 5 across accounts after fees and commissions. A whopping $88.60 here live with you guys. Got enough for some Chipotle. On that note, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. Good conversations, talking about tools, talking about Bookmap, talking about the charts. It's a very small winning trade. We're going to call that about break even, right? Just didn't play. It did show me almost $100 in profit, but that's not enough relative to the risk and just to what I was letting develop for this one. But don't have time to manage it. I'm going to have to come off the charts, come back on later, get some scalping in, and we've got some volatility that might come into the market. So for those reasons, going to close out. Still looks like a good trade, good direction. a couple different things. Maybe I'm hanging on to it. And we'll see how that plays out. We'll see if we go and run the 820s, in a little bit. But on that note, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up right here. Appreciate you being here with me. Remember, I'm not a financial advisor. None of this is financial advice. I'm just an idiot on YouTube yapping about trading. Trading's risky. Most traders lose money. Do your own research. Read CFTC Rule 4.41 on simulated trading, which is what this is, even in funded prop firm accounts, and the affiliate and partnership disclaimer that says I stand to make money from links to my content, even like that link that I have on there for Bookmap. Appreciate you guys being here. Hit like, hit subscribe, hop in the free Discord. Hit the link at the top of the pin to the chat. All my links there. You get all my good stuff. More than happy to see you guys on my social media. I'm heavy active on Instagram, on Twitter. I post different original content on all of those to try to keep it active and interesting for everybody. And I'm doing more here on YouTube with long form videos. Got a bunch of stuff cooking. I'm excited to be releasing it over the next coming weeks. Giveaways for prop firm accounts coming up heavy on these live sessions and in Discord. I got one running for the guys that are being most active in Discord as well. Talk to you guys soon. Have a great Monday. Trade safe. Trade well the rest of the day. See you later.